Wagwan y'all, it's Dimz, and today I'll be reviewing the Victrix BFG. A while ago I reviewed the Victrix Gambit controller, which even though I only had like one gripe with it, it became my go-to gamepad to play on. With the new Victrix BFG seemingly being the evolution of the Gambit controller, let's see if this controller is an objective upgrade, a step backwards, or maybe somewhere in between. Starting off with compatibility, the Victrix BFG is a controller that works on PS4, PS5, and PC, versus the Gambit which only worked on the Xbox family consoles and PC. Opening up the BFG box, you get all the components and the controller inside of a neat rough case. In the rough case, it comes with the controller, the detachable cable, a wireless dongle, two octo thumbstick gates, the Allen wrench, two extra D-pad styles, a long thumbstick, a domed thumbstick, and a fight pad change layout. The controller itself is similar to the Victrix Gambit, but it feels tighter. It has a tighter feel. If you don't have a point of reference, the controller feels quality, grippy, and solid. It gives you that professional controller feel that you don't get a lot from third-party controllers, as well as coming in with 4 quick mappable back buttons on the back of it that you can assign to any button on your controller. Just all you have to do is hold the profile button on the back of the controller and then press which back button or which back panel you want to remap. Then the LED will start flashing. Then you press any of the buttons on the controller and it will be assigned to that back button. But when I say any of the buttons, I do mean except triggers or menu buttons. You also have 3 different controller profiles for the controller that you can switch to on the fly. So if you want a different control scheme for your back buttons to be, let's say, with the different profiles, blue, green, or purple, for when you play different games, you don't want to just keep doing your remaps, that's what the profiles are for. The triggers you can adjust freely, adjust the pull distance freely on them. You can make them hair triggers or you can make them full pull triggers or any distance in between that you're comfortable with. The triggers themselves are made of a different material than the standard ones. They're more hooked. They hook around your fingers than most controller triggers. The controller comes with 3 interchangeable D-pads, the standard one, a diamond one, and one that makes it really easy to roll your thumbs from one quadrant to another, making half circles much more easier on this D-pad. This also fixed the main issue that I had on the Victrix Gambit controller. But let's move on to the main reason why everyone has their eyes on this controller, the modularity. This controller can accommodate the controller layout for both type of people who prefer a symmetrical or a parallel joystick layout of the similar to the DualShock controllers, or an asymmetrical joystick layout similar to Xbox controllers. All you have to do is use the provided Allen wrench or any other Allen wrench of identical size. The screws are built into the components themselves, so you don't have to worry about them falling somewhere, rolling somewhere, or just getting lost in general. Also, no, you cannot do the same thing on the right side of the controller's layout. You can't flip them around. There's pre-made grooves that the components slot into, and it won't let you slot them in if this side is moved a different way. However, what you can do is change the right side out with a fight pad component. This is actually an amazing extra if you happen to play fighting games with a fight pad. Or, you just want to learn how to play with a fight pad or never touched a fight pad before. Or, it's just a cool bonus. Now, it's time for me to give my personal opinions on the controller. And honestly, this controller is amazing to me. My main gamepad controller for the past year has been the Victrix Gambit controller. And the thing is, my only minor issue with the controller was the D-pad. The Victrix BFG fixes this D-pad issue plus more. I feel that the Victrix BFG is just an overall upgrade of a controller over the Gambit, and the ability to choose or switch the layout of the gamepad's controller joysticks from symmetrical to asymmetrical is something I really wanted in a controller ever since I was in middle school. Also, for all of you that are curious, the controller swap parts on the BFG does not work on the Gambit. But strangely, The D-pads for the controller swaps on the Gambit works on the BFG. And it feels better on the BFG than it does on the Gambit. It just doesn't fit as tight and snug. But all this praise and greatness of this controller doesn't excuse the one elephant in the room, the price. This controller costs $180. But is it worth it? Well, let's take a look at it this way. The controller works on PlayStation 5, which a PS5 pad costs about $65. And it has a worse and the PS5 pad has a worse battery life than the BFG if you use it wirelessly. The BFG also works on the PS4, which a common PS4 pad nowadays costs like $30. For the times when you have to go and play on a PS4, because, not everyone has a PS5. Whether, you don't have a PS5 or you go to your cousin who doesn't have it, or if you go to a local gaming scene and all they have is PS4 still. This means you don't have to use a different controller. It can also be used as a fight pad on these consoles. In the fight pad market, it's kind of weird on the price, but to get something that's for PS4 and PS5, a controller or a fight pad like that costs $60. And next, if you want to use the controller on PC, since the PS5 pad isn't simple and straightforward to use on PCs, sometimes it just doesn't like being hooked up to PCs and doesn't work on every game, as well as the PS4 pad has this issue time from time. So basically, if you don't have your PC already set up to work with a PS5 pad or a PS4 pad, you don't have to worry about using this one, because this one works on PC natively through X input, which if don't know, it means it's recognized as a Microsoft controller. So instead of grabbing another controller for the PC, which Microsoft controller standard price right now is around $50, you can just use this one controller. So on top of all of that this controller is so versatile and can be used for, it's also wireless. Not a lot of controllers are wireless and can do all this nowadays. Though it's not wireless Bluetooth, but it's wireless through a USB dongle. So is it worth the price? Well, that's really up to you, because in my opinion, if you're in the market for a pro controller and you play on PC and or PlayStation, this will be a good deal. If you are in the market for a pro controller and you play on Fight Pad, but also, just want to have one controller so you don't have to keep switching from Fight Pad to different games, every time, different game pull up, you pull out a different controller, this could be one for you. Are you just insane and you just love the versatility in general and just want a controller that you can just switch the analog sticks on, and you want to pay $180 for it? Sure, this controller is definitely for you. But now I have to ask myself, and everybody would probably think, did I have any issues with this controller? Well, the thing is, I've been trying and trying, but I can't find anything wrong with this controller. Anything I found out that was like an issue with this controller, well, one, I'll have to like really nitpick, and two, it's a first world problem that already has a solution. Like when I got the controller, sometimes I accidentally press the touchpad button when I want to press the select button. Well, the solution is I adjusted, and most games when you hit the touchpad button, it's not really detrimental. But if you find yourself hitting the menu buttons just in general and you don't want to, there's actually a lock feature on this controller which it will just lock out those menu buttons so they won't do anything even if you accidentally press them. Maybe another issue I tried to find was when I tried to put the cable back in the case, since I didn't tie it as neat as possible, it really wouldn't fit in as well. Well, the solution is learn how to wrap your cables better. There's tutorials somewhere to teach you, like on YouTube, and that's what I had to do to find out how to wrap this better. Like honestly, I'm grasping at straws to try to find a flaw with this controller, and I don't know. The cable, okay. The cable has this weird prong at the end. This prong is supposed to help you, help end the wrap when you wrap up a controller. This is where it's supposed to hook into, just kind of like a vacuum cleaner. And because of this weird prong at the end of the controller, this controller does not fit side by side with other USB-Cs, depending on the setup, nicely. It will just kind of block the other USB-Cs that are just right next to it or on top of it in a certain way. So that could be a flaw, but the solution is just get another USB-C cable. It's detachable, and as long as it's USB-C, it will work on this controller. Now, when it comes to controllers, I am a skeptic. I'm a very big skeptic. But while having and using this controller, I honestly can't find a single issue with this controller. Dare I say that this may be a perfect controller. But, if you are in the market for a pro controller that's versatile for you and you play on PC and or PlayStation, as well as Switch and Xbox with an adapter, you can't go wrong with the Victrix BFG. And that's my review of the Victrix BFG. It is a very versatile controller, and it's for people if you are in the market for a pro controller and don't mind spending around $200 for it. It's probably one of the last controllers you'll ever buy, which is really cool, unless, like I said, your main console is Xbox or Switch. So that was my review of the Victrix BFG. Love the controller. And if you found this review helpful, leave a like. Tell me how I did in the comments, and I wish you all have a great day.